Good evening to you. Thank you so much for keeping it TV47 Prime. My name is Wakio Mzenge. Our sign language interpreter is Rhoda Nyamai. We have lined up stories that are making headlines, so let's get started. Children disappearance cases continue to raise concern across the country, leaving families in distress and desperately seeking answers. Experts are now warning that the situation could worsen if urgent action is not taken. Our reporter Susan Locho looks at the pain families endure after losing their children.
Cries from parents searching for their missing children have become increasingly common on social media. Photos are shared widely. Appeals for help continue to grow as families remain trapped in pain and uncertainty.
Ako wapi? It's really bad.
For Joyce Nduta, each day brings a fresh heartache. It has now been 31 days since her 5-year-old son Luther Mwangi, who is autistic, disappeared.
30 minutes mtoto hawezi kuwa ameenda mbali sana, considering tumetafuta phase 4, phase 3, phase 2, phase 1, outskirts za Dandora. 5-year-old hawezi kuwa ametembea akatembea. At some point angechoka akae chini.
According to the family, Luther rarely wandered off alone, making his disappearance even more mysterious.
Ako on medication. So sijui mwenye akona asipokunywa dawa ana convulse.
The search for him began just minutes after he went missing, but to date, there has been no information about his whereabouts.
Mtoto ako on medication, asipokunywa dawa ata convulse. So mwenye tu ako na yeye amlete juu. Sijui what state ako in this moment.
A week later, a false online post claiming that Luther had been found safe circulated on social media, causing even more distress for his mother.
Sisi tukipost a missing child, kuna mtu anaweka found safe. Na it's an edited post.
According to the children's rescue organization Mama Africa, some of the children who are eventually rescued are unable to recognize their own parents as experts raise fears over possible child trafficking networks.
We have quite a number of children, I would say 10% from the seats, and also around 20% are orphans.
Experts say economic pressure and limited parental supervision, especially among young parents who could be experiencing postpartum depression, could be contributing to the rise in cases of missing children.
Teenage mothers or teenage parents have high risk of having the child neglect because they are also children as well.
Every missing child leaves a family trapped in fear, pain, and endless questions. And while the numbers keep increasing, the question remaining is if our children are safe. Susan Locho for TV47, Nairobi.
So quite a devastating story from Susan Locho. Meanwhile, President William Ruto has rallied the Western Kenya region to register as voters in next year's presidential election, warning the region that failure to vote amounts to a biblical sin. Ruto, who spoke from State House Nairobi, where he hosted church leaders from Bungoma County, further warned the vote-rich volatile region that a no vote in next year's general election means no development. Here's a report by Apollo Kamau.
President William Ruto on Saturday intensified efforts to consolidate support in the populous Western Kenya region, warning that millions of residents risk missing out on development projects if they fail to register as voters ahead of next year's general election.
Bado tuko na shida, lazima niwaeleze. Western Kenya tuko na watu 1.5 milioni wako na kipande lakini hawana kura. 1.5 million. Unaona ile hasara mnatuletea? Maendeleo inaletwa na siasa. Siasa inapangwa na kura. Ama namna gani? Hamwezi kusema tunataka maendeleo na hamjapanga kura. Sasa hii maendeleo itatoka wapi?
The head of state used biblical analogies to caution the region against voter apathy, saying failure to vote amounts to a sin.
Biblia inasema uongozi inaamuliwa kwa kura. Proverbs ngapi? Hebu ni Psalms ngapi? Iko. So mtu asifikiri ya kwamba ati mambo ya kura ni mambo ya wanasiasa. Mambo ya kura, Biblia yenyewe inasema mashindano inaamuliwa. Kwa nini? Kwa kura. In the Bible.
The push comes as President Ruto seeks to strengthen his grip on Western Kenya following the emergence of the Leader Mwananchi faction, allied to ODM leaders opposed to his re-election bid.
The road ahead is great, the vision is bold. The opposition will be loud, but be strong, be courageous. Bungoma is praying, Kenya is watching, and God, who brought you this far, will not abandon you now.
Mheshimiwa Rais, hata kama wewe ni Mkenya mjinga, unaamini wale ambao wanakupigia kelele, kwa nini wale ambao wanapiga kelele? Tumekuwa na by election nyingi hapa Kenya, kila sehemu ya Kenya, mbona hawajashinda kiti hata kimoja? Hiyo inamaanisha kelele hiyo ni kelele yao wenyewe, sio kelele kwa niaba ya Wakenya. Wakenya, they understand where we have come from and where we are going.
Unajua, in the whole Old Testament hakuna kipofu aliponywa, na hiyo muujiza ilitendeka siku ya Sabato. Ukiuliza Mwadventisti leo atakwambia ni siku ya Sabato. Nataka nikuambie Rais, hawa watu wamekaa hapa, kuna vipofu wamepona, kuna vipofu wameona.
The president has in recent weeks toured the counties of Bungoma, Kakamega, Busia and Vihiga in a bid to rally support amid growing political competition in the region. Apul Kamau, TV47.
Residents of Olkokwe ward in Kisanana, Baringo County are gripped by fear after a mysterious incident of water gushing from the ground. What began as a small spring for livestock has now unleashed flooding that is swallowing homes and farms. In a region known for its dryness, residents say smoke has at times risen from the soil, fueling fears that the land could be forming yet another lake in Baringo. Mike Kello reports.
What started as a small spring for livestock has now become a nightmare for residents of Kisanana in Baringo County. Homes and farms have been swept away across more than 3 kilometers, with over 250 acres submerged by water whose source remains a mystery. More than 60 families remain at risk of displacement, with 2 already forced to vacate their homes.
Nikangoja kidogo hivi, nikaambia mama, na imagine kama inaongezeka. Kufika kitu kama saa 7 ya usiku. Sasa nilikuwa nimelala hivi, nikaangusha mkono hivi. Nikaona sasa imefika kwa kitanda juu.
Stella Kiprop recounts how a spring suddenly emerged inside their house.
Hii maji ilikuja ghafla. Tulikuwa tumelala usiku, maji katokelezea chini. Si maji ati ilikuja na mvua, ilitokelezea chini ndani ya nyumba.
Some residents claim they have seen smoke rising from the ground. At times, the bubbling water produces foam and a strong smell, turning vegetation and livestock feed into unusual colors. Fear of an impending food shortage now grips the community.
Hiyo maji sasa imejaa area yote saa hii. Na hakuna mvua kubwa ati imenyesha. Ni maji tu inatoka peke yao. Watu wameathirika wote sasa, hatulimi. Tunaona sasa wenye walikuwa hapo karibu na hii kitu wameanza kuhama.
Familia wenye wako adhari, there are 60 households kama vile nimesema. Na hao wote walikuwa wanategemea hapa. Hii ndio mashamba yao kwa ukulima, chakula ya mifuko, tena maji. Kama vile umesikia maji, sasa hawana maji. Maji wanaenda karibu kilomita 5 ndio wapate maji.
But where is the water coming from? Why is a dry area flooding despite having no nearby rivers?
This is a closed basin. So the fact that it's a closed basin, it is already, this is a water environment. It is forming some sort of a closed a closed water channel where there's no water draining out, it is just coming in. So here it will just come in and seepage and seepage and seepage until the permeability of the ground and the underground is too porous, so the water will not be able to flow.
Scientists, water and sewage company and geothermal development companies suggest that increased underground water pressure combined with surface water may have saturated the land, triggering the disaster. Geological studies are still underway to establish the exact cause.
Whatever is happening here, the conditions are continuing, so we will probably advise the community to relocate as we do an assessment of the area.
This comes as Rift Valley lakes continue to expand and overflow, raising fresh concerns about the long-term environmental shifts.
With time, these lakes might be at the verge of meeting and mixing up because the rising in Lake Baringo and Bogoria is happening. If these waters meet, we don't know what exactly might happen.
Mike Cello, TV47.
So we can always see how.
Now, amid public outcry over the new increased fuel prices in the country, Energy CS Opiyo Wandayi has defended the fuel pricing. In a bid to set the record straight on the fuel crisis countrywide, Wandayi further defended the G2G import deal hours after DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua faulted it. Stanley Nyaringita reports on the politics of the fuel.
Just hours after DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua raised concern over the new fuel prices, further faulting President William Ruto over allegedly profiting from the hike.
The crisis that we face is one of state capture and conflict of interest, where President William Ruto and Gulf Energy are the ones doing the business of fuel importation, and they have topped up too much profit to fleece the people of Kenya.
Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi has now termed his remarks as misleading.
The oil resource in Turkana County was first discovered in the year 2012. It is only last year, December, that the field development plan concerning Turkana oil was approved by none other than myself as the Cabinet Secretary. 14 years later.
Prior to his departure for a visit to the United Kingdom Friday evening, the former deputy president also criticized Kenya's government-to-government fuel import arrangement, describing it as a failure that has not delivered the price stability Kenyans were promised.
This G2G arrangement is a fraud. We had been told when I was in government that it was supposed to regularize prices and cushion the people of Kenya from sporadic changes in pricing system. But the price keeps on going high.
La pili, hii mambo ya government fuel importation framework haikuanzishwa jana au leo, ilianzishwa mwaka 2023 wakati Bwana Munyora alikuwa deputy president.
Following the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz amid the Middle East conflict, Kenya's petroleum supply has been disrupted. The Energy Cabinet Secretary now assuring the public that the government is on course to alleviate the crisis.
Mambo ya mafuta inajulikana. Sitaongea mengi. Lakini serikali kuu inashughulikia vilivyo. Tunaishughulikia vilivyo.
Still on matters fuel, Kenya is staring at a fuel showdown as a political storm collides with an economic one. Pressure is mounting from Parliament to transport stages, with operators threatening to ground services from Monday, a move that could paralyze mobility nationwide. At the same time, Kiharu MP is pushing for the National Assembly to be recalled to fast-track amendments aimed at lowering fuel prices. But beyond the urgency, the bigger question remains, how did Kenya get here? Munene John reports.
The ripple effect is already being felt. Every matatu stage is feeling it. Every market stall is adjusting to it. Every commuter is paying for it. Now, the matatu sector is warning of a full shutdown from Monday if nothing changes, a move that could paralyze transport across cities and towns. But this crisis did not start at the pump. A chain of taxes and levies, 18 to be exact, sits on every litre of fuel before it even reaches the pump. The additions driving up the price exponentially. In the current price review, for example, the landed cost for petrol, diesel and kerosene is 117, 167 and 172 respectively, against a pump price of 214, 242 and 152 shillings respectively. Value-added tax currently temporarily reduced to 8%, excise duty, the road maintenance levy, the petroleum development levy, and the petroleum regulatory levy paid to the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority (EPRA). Layer upon layer, each one adding weight to the final price Kenyans pay. Back in 2018, VAT on petroleum products was introduced at 16%. The reaction was immediate. Public outrage and nationwide protest forcing a reduction to 8%. But in 2023, under President William Ruto, that relief was reversed through the Finance Act, restoring VAT back to 16% despite earlier campaign pledges to ease fuel taxes. Then came another sharp turn in April 2026 when a price spike of more than 40 shillings per litre forced government back into emergency mode, cutting VAT again to 8% for a limited 90-day window. Today, opposition leaders and even some members of parliament are condemning fuel prices, but critics point out many were part of the same legislative process that created the current tax burden. Keharo Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro has formally sought for a recall of parliament to discuss how the price of fuel could be reduced, inadvertently admitting that your representatives in parliament had the power to do it way before now. Or did they?
Hii yangu mimi nahitaji hao wabunge wananisaidia, wananipitisha sheria, hawa ndio wananipangia budget. Nikiwapendekezea tunataka namna hii, wanaenda wanarekebisha, wanapiga msasa, wananiletea na sukuma.
With transport on the verge of paralysis and parliament under pressure, the country is staring at a hard reality that is no longer just about fuel prices. It is about how much strain the system can take before it snaps. Munene John, TV47, Nairobi.
We will be keeping a close eye on that story. And now we go to Mombasa, where efforts to restore unity within the ODM party are facing fresh hurdles as an internal divisions deepen. Leaders who once stood together under the party now appear openly split. As Quinto Wafula reports, Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi has taken aim at Raila Odinga's daughter, Winnie Odinga, following her criticism of government and perceived support for the Linda Mwananchi faction. And the story was not actually in Mombasa. Let's take a listen.
The push to restore unity within ODM is becoming more difficult as divisions widen. Sharp political exchanges have left the party appearing increasingly unstable. Sentiments that seem to have been the political dog whistle. Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi engaging with Kisumu women representative and Odinga's sister Ruth Odinga over the affairs of the Orange Democratic Movement Party. During the burial of Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka's mother, Odinga's daughter Winnie threw thinly veiled jabs at Mbadi for what she termed as focusing on political strategies instead of addressing the struggles facing Kenyans amid the rising cost of living.
The economy is in bad shape. Vijana wana kazi. Mabiashara vidogo zimefungwa. Wakulima wanahangaika juu ya gharama ya mbolea. Na nyinyi hamna focus bana. You have to focus.
I told them, in fact, when Raila was still alive, my brothers, don't try to work with Ruto. He's given you a poison chalice.
Today in Homa Bay County, Treasury Cabinet Secretary and former ODM Chairman John Mbadi appeared to directly target Winnie Odinga, telling her to stop presenting herself as an advisor on matters she does not fully understand.
You can't come from nowhere to start advising me. First, seek an elective position, be elected, and then people will start also nurturing you as a leader going forward. But we are not going to tolerate petty and small and juvenile politics.
A section of ODM leaders has continued to call for a ceasefire, warning that supremacy battles among Luo leaders could eventually tear apart the party structure built over decades.
Petty rivalries in Luo Nyanza counties should not kill the ODM party. It does not belong to you. We are also members.
Quinto Wafula, TV47.
And now we go to Mombasa, where efforts to protect and uplift street-connected children took center stage at the annual Wemathon there in Mombasa, where stakeholders emphasized the need for stronger collaboration to safeguard children's rights and expand access to essential services. The event, graced by Tessie Musalia, spouse to Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, highlighted the importance of collective responsibility in restoring dignity, hope, and opportunities for vulnerable children across the country. Children's rights guaranteed under Article 53 of the Constitution were underscored as leaders and organizations rallied behind initiatives aimed at strengthening child protection systems. The Wema Center was commended for going beyond service delivery to restore dignity and provide opportunities for street-connected children. Stakeholders noted that partnerships with organizations such as Equity Afya and government agencies have enabled children to access healthcare and Huduma Center services, stressing that no single institution can meet the needs of children alone.
The rights of children in Kenya are protected under various laws and the Constitution. In Kenya, every child has a right to a name and a nationality, and as far as possible, the right to know and be cared for by their parents. The Constitution of Kenya, under Article 53 of the Bill of Rights, guarantees every child fundamental rights and freedoms that safeguard their dignity, well-being, and future. Some of the specific applications of the rights to children are, and are not limited to, the right to a name and nationality from birth, free and compulsory basic education, basic nutrition, shelter and health care, be protected from abuse, neglect, harmful cultural practices, all forms of violence, inhuman treatment and punishment.
And Nairobi woman representative Esther Passaris has defended community health promoters over what she described as excessive medical deductions by the Social Health Authority, SHA. Speaking while meeting a group of health promoters, Passaris called on the Ministry of Health to reduce the deductions imposed on the volunteers from 1,000 Kenya shillings to 500 Kenya shillings. She argued that the workers earn low incomes and that charging them the higher amount is totally unfair.
1,000 for CHPs for SHA is a bit exorbitant. I believe that SHA should charge all CHPs in Kenya 500 shillings monthly for their SHA, because they cannot afford 1,000 shillings. Already they are struggling, and we know that jobs are not readily available. So because they provide this absolute service of health, they should be covered with 500 shillings a month, which can be comfortable for them, as opposed to 1,000 shillings. They're not even asking to go to the bare minimum of 300. So I believe that that's a conversation we should have with SHA and CS Ndwale. It's not an unreasonable request by the CHPs for them to be able to pay 500, because if they're going to tell people to join SHA, they themselves have to be members, and they're finding the 1,000 shillings a month to be very challenging for them.
This is TV47 Prime. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're going for a short commercial break, but we'll be back, so don't go too far.
what's inside that prepackaged food? Those unhealthy ultra-processed foods high in sugar, salt or unhealthy fats can lead to diseases.
According to the Ministry of Health, approximately 39% of all deaths in Kenya are as a result of non-communicable diseases such as obesity, diabetes, cancer, and high blood pressure. The foods and drinks we consume every day can affect our health more than we realize.
Clear information on packages about what's in our food can help us have a healthy diet. From the Food Policy Coalition Kenya.
Azam TV, your favorite pay TV, just got even better. Effective 1st March 2026, we have added 5 amazing new TV channels to keep you entertained day and night. AMC Movies and Nolly Africa for the best of Nollywood movies and series. Music Box Hits and Music Box Dance for non-stop music hits and dance. And Manchester United TV for football fans. More movies, more music, more sports, all in one place.
Face the future with confidence by acquiring additional skills that will make you competitive in the job market. Enhance your skills by undertaking professional short courses at Mount Kenya University's Center for Professional Development. These programs include Certified Human Resource Professional, Certified Public Accounts, Certified Associate in Project Management, Certified Procurement and Supply Professional, Certified Forensic Fraud Examiner, Chartered Institute for Securities and Investment, Cisco Networking, Cloud and Cybersecurity Solutions, Certified Investment and Financial Analyst. Application is through admission.mku.ac.ke or reach us on 0709 153 195 or 0709 153 194. Mount Kenya University, unlocking infinite possibilities.
Skia, ni juicy. Flavor zote tamu tena fruity. Yummy na flow kama maji juu ni tamu kama sali. Ni juicy. Are you bored? Kuna vitu zinakuudhi, usijali my bro, ibu kama taka juicy juni.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning. You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hizi yako.
Hamna pesa. I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimewekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Ikikunyuma.
Oh my God. He left me. Nitumie ni line.
Uko nje kuna wifi.
Why? Hi-Fi?
Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea. The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero umeka kwa beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already.
I won't entertain divas. No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47.
Welcome back. This is TV47 Prime. Remember, later in the bulletin, we'll be having a very interesting conversation on our segment of Say What? But right now, let's carry on with the stories making headlines. The Ministry of Health has issued a public warning and intensified surveillance following confirmation of an Ebola outbreak in Ituri province, eastern DRC. Regional health authorities are closely monitoring the risk of cross-border spread as Kenya and neighboring countries heighten preparedness. Sally Davida reports on this story.
The Africa Centers of Disease Control and Prevention Africa CDC has announced a resurgence of Ebola in Ituri province, eastern DRC, with Mongwalu and Rwampara among the most affected areas known for gold mining activities. 246 cases and approximately 80 deaths have been reported, with Mongwalu and Rwampara among the most affected areas. Uganda has also confirmed one imported case from DRC. According to Kenya's Director General of Health, Dr. Patrick Amoth, Kenya has not recorded any Ebola cases so far. He also said that the Ministry of Health has established an Ebola response team and placed the National Emergency Operations Center on a high alert for monitoring and coordination.
Today, I have released $500,000 from WHO's contingency fund for emergencies to immediately support the response.
Ebola was first discovered in the year 1976 in the DRC and spreads through contact with bodily fluids of an infected person. Symptoms of Ebola include sudden fever, severe fatigue, headache, muscle pain, vomiting, diarrhea, and in some cases, it may cause bleeding. The Ministry of Health now advises the public to wash their hands most of the time, avoid contact with bodily fluids, and seek early medication if any symptoms appear. Sally Davida, TV47.
And now to sporting matters. Faith Kipyegon made a strong start to her 2026 outdoor season after storming to victory in the women's 5,000 meters at the Shanghai Diamond League with a world-leading time of 14 minutes, 24 seconds, .14. The Kenyan distance queen broke away late from a packed lead group to narrowly hold off Ethiopia's Likina Amebo, who clocked 14 minutes, 24 seconds, .21, while Sinayet Getachew finished third. The rest delivered incredible depth, with 7 athletics running under 14:33 and several personal bests recorded, as Kipyegon once again underlined her dominance on the global stage.
It was good race, good season opener. That was my biggest goal, to just run, feel the legs how it is, go back home, sit down with the team and see where we can adjust, and continue with the same spirit, with the same energy. I will not say I will go back to 15 more often, because you saw I started with the 10K on the road this season. But I'm gonna do both 15 and 5. So I'm happy to start my season here. So it was really nice. I just want to run the best version of myself and see how I am every year. And this was the start. I tried to keep the momentum going and see how fast I could run today. But after, I was like, I have to win and only keep the body fit towards going forward. I saw the other lady on my shoulders and I was like, I have to move now. It was really tough. Prefontaine, of course. I will be back in Eugene for the Prefontaine, of course, So I think that will be my next.
Congratulations to Faith Kipyegon. Meanwhile, the stage is set for a thrilling Mozartbet Cup final as Tusker FC take on Kenya Police FC on June 14th, 2026 in Kwale County. Police FC booked their place in the final after edging out Bandari FC 5-3 on penalties, while Tusker also advanced via a dramatic shootout victory over KCB FC after both semi-final matches ended level in regular time. Both exciting semi-final clashes were broadcasted live on TV47, courtesy of Mozartbet.
Kwale tarehe 14 tayari finali imetua. Kenya Police.
Hongera sana.
Nashukuru sana.
Kikubwa kabisa, mechi imekuwaje upande wenu?
Imekuwa mechi ngumu, but tunashukuru Mungu ametusaidia tukapata ushindi.
Kikubwa pia umepata man of the match. Labda binafsi unaweza sema wakati ule ulipopiga ile penalti ya mwisho kabisa, nini kilikuja kwa akili yake?
Ni kitu nadhani ni kitu tumekuwa tukifanyia kwa mazoezi, na kila mtu akienda hapo alikuwa anaenda kama amejiamini sana. Naweza sema ni kitu tumekuwa tukifanya. Sasa ikuwa ngumu sana.
Inaenda wapi 100,000?
Hii itaenda, kuna timu tutapelekea academy nilikuwa nadhani.
nimlete hapa. Hao ni wachezaji wa Police FC, wachezaji wa Police FC ambao wanamcongratulate, wanampongeza mwenzao Marvin Omondi na Bwire.
Lakini pia sisi tumechagua, nafikiri viongozi wa soka, ili makusudi soka yetu iweze kupanuka. Lakini vitendo ambavyo tumefanywa Nairobi sio vizuri. Tumekatazwa kutrain uwanja wa Nyayo. Mara 2 tumeomba uwanja, tumekatazwa. Lakini polisi walipewa throughout kutrain kwa uwanja.
Imekuwa game ngumu. Though I think kipindi cha kwanza tukucheza vizuri kabisa na vijana wangu hawakufuata instructions because na believe hii ni game ambayo tulikuwa tunataka tuende for early goals, lakini hawakufanya hivyo. Second half tumemake changes, at least kukakuwa na punch, tukajaribu kucreate, lakini sasa unajua most of the time Bandari walikuwa na act na the long balls, so kidogo ilikuwa ngumu kwetu, but vijana walijaribu.
And that wraps up sports for us. We're going for a short break. When we return, we are on Say What. We're having a lovely conversation with Pastor Joseph Munene, who's already in the building together with Peter Ngumba. So don't go away. The big question we're asking is, who is the father?